Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys, brought to you by the National Hockey Now Network. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by National Hockey Now, Monday, April 30, and Cameron, Alex B. Smith. Monday slate, 3 games on tap tonight. We'll break those down momentarily. Before we get into that, we do want to remind everybody, Tuesday night, tomorrow night, it's yet again an Ice Guys live betcast night. Tomorrow night, Tuesday, April the 4th, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. Hopefully a little more drama-free than it was last Tuesday.
Yeah.
But that's another story. We have live betting and commentary. Of course, as always, with me, with Alex, and with all the guests that join us on the betcast. And a lot of fun. Drinking encouraged. DM at Bobano on Twitter or email Bobano at 350@gmail.com, and we will send you the link to the betcast for tomorrow night. Again, Tuesday, April the 4th. We only have 2 more Tuesday night regular season betcasts remaining. So after that, it'll be playoff betcasts. Our playoff betcasts are largely through the week going to be Tuesday and Thursday. Those are pretty much going to be the days. We will be throwing in an odd Saturday betcast, and we'll probably we'll throw out the Thursday one for whatever week we do. The Saturday one is probably what we'll end up doing. So most of the betcasts during the playoffs, especially the first round, will be Tuesday and Thursday, and we'll be doing 2 betcasts a week. For not so much the first round, because the first round still we have, double headers and we have longer betcasts, but definitely our plan is once we get into the second round and especially conference finals, we're going to be doing 2 betcasts a week because we're just going to have the one standalone game most nights. So there'll be shorter individual betcasts where it's 3 hours tops because you're only going to have one game. So the longer we get into the playoffs, we're going to end up eventually extending it to 2 betcasts per week. In the playoffs, largely on, again, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Whenever we do a Saturday one, we'll just skip Thursday and we'll do the Saturday betcast too as well. We'll throw in a couple at least during the playoffs on the Saturday when we do the betcast. But that's all to be determined. What we do know for sure is we've got one tomorrow night. So make sure you join us tomorrow night for the Tuesday betcast. Alex, how are things? How was the weekend? And just overall, sum up the weekend since we didn't see you yesterday.
Great betting weekend. It was fun watching the Final Four. I had a hit there, made some money with some boxing, but the hockey's been great as well. Of course, like I said, we're getting down to everybody's got at least 7 or fewer games left in the season. So everything's important and, it's fun. Actually, I've been enjoying these shorter cards. I'm really looking forward to all 3 games tonight because they mean so much in the playoff picture. They're all, related to the Western Conference. So, these shorter cards, the big cards have been great as well too. And of course, we have the biggest card coming this Saturday with every team in the league playing. But it's been fun, and I expect another fun week of. Hopefully, it'll be a profitable and fun. But I think regardless of profits, this is going to be an enjoyable watch if you're a hockey fan. And we were talking about Ian the other day about how here in the U.S., the national TV coverage has been spot on this weekend, and it goes right into this weekend and beyond. So it's a fun time to be a hockey fan. If you haven't been able to just even sit and watch and catch a couple of games, now's the time to do it. And some of the best hockey you're going to be seeing from here on out.
And it's amazing how many incredible races we have, seriously, in all of these different playoff races in both conferences, really. I mean, and divisional races. I mean, if you look at the standings, there's not a whole lot that has been totally decided yet. I mean, you've still got so much that's going to be up for grabs here in these last 2 weeks of the regular season. The Metro Division race is still on. Carolina and New Jersey, there's only 3 points separating them. The Atlantic is the one division that everything's decided. Boston's first. Toronto is, we presume Toronto is going to be second. They're still 4 up on Tampa Bay and a game in hand. So it's going to be very difficult for Tampa Bay. But if you keep losing to Detroit, teams like that, if you're the Leafs, you're maybe going to open the door to Tampa Bay. But nevertheless, the Leafs still should get second. So there's not a lot in the Atlantic. Obviously, the wild card in the East is nuts because you've got the Islanders now losing 2 games this weekend, Alex. They pulled Pittsburgh closer to them. They've pulled Florida closer to them. And even the Buffalo Sabres, here they are at 81 points, not totally out of things. And look who they play tomorrow night, the Florida Panthers. You talk about a huge game. It's probably a must get for the Buffalo. Not probably, it is a must get for the Buffalo Sabres if they're going to have any playoff hopes whatsoever. But they're not totally out of it yet either. Ottawa 80. It's going to be a lot of work for Ottawa to get in with only 5 games left, but they're not even totally out of it yet at 80 points. So the wild card in the East is still very much up for grabs with basically 5 teams for 2 spots: Islanders, Penguins, Panthers, Sabres, and Sens. The teams with the real good chance, obviously, Islanders, Penguins, and Panthers in that battle. And then, of course, in the West, you've got an incredible battle for the Central, where Minnesota's leading the Central Division by a point over Colorado and Dallas. The Pacific is all of a sudden tightened up. Vegas leading that division at 101 points, but only by 1 point over LA, and now by 2 points over this surging Edmonton Oilers team, which is now 9-0-1 in their last 10 games. It's been a incredible piping hot streak for the Oilers that they've now gotten themselves back into the Pacific Division race once again. The wild card in the West is also very tightly contested. Seattle, 90 points, but they still haven't clinched anything. They've still got work to do. Winnipeg at 89. Calgary 2 points behind Winnipeg for that final spot. Nashville isn't even completely out of the picture yet, especially when you factor in they've got 2 games in hand on both Winnipeg and Calgary. One of those will come tonight against Dallas. They're only 5 points out. Nashville hasn't given up hope. That didn't look like a Nashville team on Saturday against St. Louis that's given up playoff hope. That's for sure. So there's still a lot to be decided there, Alex. You're 100% right. These last 2 weeks, throw out the betting for a minute. Throw it out. Just as a fan and from an entertainment and an excitement standpoint with all these playoff races and divisional races, can't ask for much more than this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in previous years, we've been, kind of, everything's, settled up. The only thing that's remaining is, like I said, maybe a couple of playoff spots or which team wins the division. I can't remember having this many, open spots and races. I mean, you look at, like I said, with even just the Central alone, 1 through 3 wide open, the Pacific 1 through 3 wide open. It's at 4 teams left essentially in the East and 3 teams in the West for the wild card. I can't remember that many teams still having a shot to land something big in the last 2 weeks of the season. It's been a while, so it's going to be a lot of fun. It's already been a lot of fun to watch, but I think that's going to certainly continue.
Yeah, it is. And just quickly on the card yesterday, big wins for Pittsburgh and for Winnipeg. I think that's the highlight, the headline of what we saw last night. 2 important wins. Pittsburgh needed the 2 points after losing a heartbreaker against Boston, and they got the job done against the Philadelphia Flyers. The Winnipeg Jets, albeit I still think New Jersey's a better team than Winnipeg, but the spot was clearly in Winnipeg's favor. They had to pounce on a Devils team that was playing on a back-to-back on the road that got into Winnipeg at 2 a.m. local time is what I heard. 2 a.m. local time in Winnipeg is when the Devils finally got to Winnipeg last night from Chicago, which is where they were the night before on Saturday. You could tell the Devils didn't have a whole lot of jump last night. Winnipeg had to pounce on them, and they did in that 6-1 win over the New Jersey Devils. So a huge 2 points. And by the way, you talk about big games just in terms of teams that are battling each other just to get in the playoffs. We got Buffalo, Florida tomorrow, which is a huge game. And then on Wednesday night, I don't think it gets better than this. Calgary at Winnipeg on Wednesday night. Oh my gosh, Alex, how the enormity of that game. Obviously, it's an understatement how big it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's the thing. We kind of chastise the schedule makers for the lopsided, days that go on throughout the season, but they really nailed it with some of these matchups at the end of the season. Tampa, Toronto. You mentioned Winnipeg, Calgary. That games that mean something now. As far as the playoff picture goes, where like I said, that's another thing in recent years. You'd have these matchups where a team that's way out of the race is playing a team that's already clinched everything or things like that. So the fact that we're still having teams that are engaged in the playoff races facing off against one another, that's the excitement level.
This is absolutely going to be a great stretch drive here in these last couple of weeks. All right, let's get into the Monday slate. We got 3 games tonight in the NHL. We will begin with probably the game of the night on paper for sure. It would be the Vegas Golden Knights and the Minnesota Wild. These 2 teams just did battle Saturday night against each other in Vegas. The Golden Knights getting it done. The Wild looking to return the favor here tonight at the XL Energy Center. Minnesota minus 135, home favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. And as we talked about, these two teams are obviously in opposing divisions in the West. Minnesota's in the Central, Vegas is in the Pacific, but they are both holding slender leads by just a single point for first place in the division. So in their respective divisions. So this becomes a very important 2 points for both teams. Vegas looking to maintain top spot in the Pacific. Minnesota looking to maintain top spot in the Central. So a very important hockey game here tonight between these two teams. Of course, Vegas got the better of Minnesota Saturday night in that 4-1 victory. Great call by Alex. Alex liked Vegas on Saturday night, saying bad spot for Minnesota. We saw the celebration after the win against Colorado on Wednesday night in Denver. That wasn't your average regular season Wednesday night victory celebration. No, that was a reaction of that's a huge fucking win. And that's a big time 2 points and a big time statement we just made in Denver, in the Mile High City, beating the Colorado Avalanche and really outplaying them for the first two periods. Third period was all Colorado. And there's no doubt there was a sense of Minnesota was hanging on a little bit in that third period. But that's why you have a great goaltender. That's why you have a goaltender in this sport to, clean up the mistakes, sometimes bail you out when the flow of the play is going against you. And Philip Gustafsson was able to do that against Colorado and allow the Wild to hang on for that big win. So they were off that big win. They go to Vegas. There was probably a little partying going on. I don't know how much, but I'm sure going to Vegas after a win like that, there's some enjoyment and some something going on with the team in a positive light. And I'm not saying that was the reason they lost to Vegas. Vegas was certainly not thrilled about losing a couple games in a row. So you got Vegas's best, and I think you got Vegas's A game. You got Minnesota's C- game, essentially on Saturday night. And Fleury wasn't as good either. He had been really playing well. It wasn't one of his better games, though, against Vegas, but he had been playing well before that, but not one of his better games Saturday. Back to Gustafsson, as you would expect. I think it is honestly going to be Gustafsson in game one, I think, for the Minnesota Wild. But again, there'll be a short leash. If Gustafsson shits the bed or struggles and, has a tough time early in the first round for Minnesota, I'm sure Fleury will get in there very quickly. It's not going to be something where Gustafsson's going to have a huge, road or racetrack as the number one goalie. Very disappointing news for Minnesota. Obviously, Kaprizov's been out for a while, but Mason Shaw now going to be out for them indefinitely. And this is a guy that, again, offensively didn't chip in much, but an energy guy, throws his weight around, doesn't even mind dropping the gloves every now and then. That's the kind of stuff you are going to miss in the playoffs for Mason Shaw being out. So very, very unfortunate there with the news about his long-term injury for them. Vegas still very much banged up as well. It looks like tonight they've got more than just a few issues as far as the injury bug is concerned. Of course, they've been without Riley Smith already for 4 games, who had been playing so well. Lower body injury. It looks like he's going to miss yet again here tonight. Shea Theodore got injured Saturday night against the Minnesota Wild. And we'll see if he's or actually a couple games ago against Edmonton. He's missed the last 2 games. We'll see if he returns, but he's been battling injury. Logan Thompson's still out. So it's Laurent Brossoit once again getting the opportunity in goal tonight for the Vegas Golden Knights in this game. And we will see how he fares in this one. I'm going to keep it pretty simple and straightforward here. I'm going to take the Wild here, minus 135. I think returning home after losing to the Golden Knights in Vegas Saturday, which wasn't an optimal spot for them. I think you get a bounce back type of performance from the Wild here, who, again, their home record remains pretty good. And by the way, if you're looking for a player prop or two to maybe consider in this game, he didn't play against Vegas, but now with the injury to Shaw, he's back in the lineup, and it's Sam Made of Steel for the Minnesota Wild. And it looks like he's going to be thrown right into the top line tonight with Ryan Hartman and Matt Zuccarello for this Wild team. They've got Marcus Johansson, Joel Eriksson, Matt Boldy on the second line. But Sam Steele's going to be up there with Hartman and Zuccarello, it looks like, tonight. So if you're talking about undervalued prop bet players tonight, there's one right there. Sam Steele being elevated to the top line. It is worth noting regarding Sam Steele. He, I believe, yes, he did. He scored in the last game he was in the lineup against Colorado, that 4-2 victory. Last Wednesday night, he got one of the goals for the Minnesota Wild. So I like his props in this game. Sammy Steele elevated to the top line here for Minnesota tonight. I think the draw is in consideration, but I'm going to pump the brakes on the draw. I want to see how this game goes. I could also see Minnesota winning this one like 3-1 or with a little separation as well. But I am on Minnesota minus 135. There's just other draws I like on this card, and we'll get to them more than this game. What do you think here, Alex? Vegas, Minnesota.
Yeah, this is a draw. It's actually the only draw I like on tonight's card. I played that. Got a plus 325. I saw plus 330 floating around, so you can obviously shop for the best price there. But I also like the first period over. And I know that sounds insane when talking about the Minnesota Wild because they've arguably been one of the worst teams as far as scoring early. But they've actually been on a 7-3 run the last 10 games to the first period over. Vegas has cashed 6 straight first period overs. And with the yes prop on the first a goal in the first 10 minutes, 11-2 the last 13 for Vegas. So they've been the ones getting off the fast starts. We don't necessarily need Minnesota to get 2 goals to cash that. And I was able to grab that at minus $1.10, which is the price we haven't been able to see in years, it seems like, unless it's involving the Wild or the Islanders. So those are my 2 plays. I like the draw. I like this first period over. I think it's going to be a better effort for Minnesota. Like I said, it was just a bad spot for them in the last game, but they still kept things pretty close. That 4-1 score is a hair bit misleading. It wasn't that much of a blowout, in my opinion. With Vegas traveling, like I said, still having some injury issues, I think it's a closer, tighter game. I definitely see this one being 3-3. So a lean, obviously, looking toward the draw. Maybe if you can get 5.5 at a plus price, or even a 4.5 at something live, that may be worth grabbing as well.
Yeah, I think, definitely. The draw, Alex, liking that. It definitely does have overtime potential. But again, with this draw in particular, too, the price not as good as the one we get to the next game, which is where I really like the draw. And definitely, I think you look at the situation here, and because of the fact you've got this draw sitting around, looks like it. And FanDuel, I noticed, by the way, have given you a lot better prices with these draws, plus 350 for the draw. At FanDuel. So again, shop around. That seems to be the book now I'm finding is given the best prices. They're beating Pinnacle, and Pinnacle is my sweetheart sports book, especially because I find I can get the best prices with so many bets there, player props, money lines, you name it, at Pinnacle. And yet consistently as of late, I've been getting the best draw prices, not at Pinnacle, at FanDuel. So I've been shopping at FanDuel now with the draws lately.
It's funny if you listen to and like my plays, the draws in the first period overs, you're going to find the best value for both of those actually right now at FanDuel. So it's definitely worth checking out.
I don't like what they're doing with their MLB Dinger Tuesday thing, though, and a lot of people are upset about that.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Rightfully so. That's unfortunate, but hopefully they fix that shit. But that's another story. We're hockey, not baseball. All right, next up, the show is we're baseball bettors and fans and cappers, but definitely that's disappointing to hear that. Hopefully they fix it for those that do bet baseball. All right, Nashville and Dallas. We've got Dallas minus 200 home favorites, 6 the total. In this game. Now, this is the draw that I like, and I'm going to do a Nashville and draw split in this game here. Why not? I mean, why not take a shot at plus 170? This is throw everything at the kitchen, but including the kitchen sink at the Dallas Stars tonight. If you're the Nashville Predators, this is it. I mean, you lose this game, you might as well kiss it goodbye as far as the playoffs go, especially with both Winnipeg and Calgary winning last night. So it's very important here for the Nashville Predators in this one. And look, I like what I've seen from them, even with so many injuries. It's pretty crazy to see how they have hung in there, and they're still only 5 points out with 2 critical games in hand, by the way, which is significant. And that's why they're still alive, even though they're 5 points back. They got 2 games in hand of some of the other teams in the race. But they've been able to do this with Duchesne injured, Yossi injured, Parsonen injured, Cole Smith, Alexander Carrier, Johansson, Forsberg. I mean, they've had a lot of their key personnel, especially up front, missing due to injuries, and the Nashville Predators have hung around here in this playoff chase. So I think you get, Dallas is the better team. There's no doubt. And Dallas is playing good hockey, but I think you get just a little bit more urgency out of Nashville because they're playing for their playoff lives. And I like the fact that they get to face Scott Wedgwood. Not that Scott Wedgwood is junk or he's a horrible goaltender, but he's not Jake Ottinger either. So, Scott Wedgwood in net here for the Dallas Stars tonight, giving Ottinger a much deserved rest. I think he has played a lot of hockey for the Dallas Stars of late. 7-11 record for Wedgwood this year, 2.92 goals against average, a .913 save percentage. So definitely okay numbers, but again, not great and certainly not Jake Ottinger numbers. Mason Marchment's still out for Dallas, but again, that pales in comparison to everybody that's been out for Nashville. But the good news for Nashville is, they've had unsung heroes, Luke Evangelista, Philip Tomasino, Cody Glass, Thomas Novak, who seems to get a point every game. I've been talking Thomas Novak points on this show every single time. I'd bet it again. I'd bet Cody Glass tonight, Evangelista, Tomasino, any of those guys. And Tyson Barrie as well. Tyson Barrie from the blue line. He's now gotten, he's been on an incredible run. He's gotten 7 points for the Nashville Predators in the last 7 games for them. So he's basically been a point per game player, Tyson Barrie, on the blue line for the Nashville Predators. He's basically filling the role that he did in Edmonton, but now in Nashville, the number 1 power play unit, quarterbacking that group. And as a result, he's making the most of it for the Nashville Predators. And again, 7 points in 7 games for him. Again, top pair on the blue line, also getting those power play minutes. Actually, second pair, but still getting the number 1 power play unit, quarterbacking that group means it's going to give him chances to produce offensively and get the points needed, to cash his props and the assists for that matter. So definitely, if you look at the props here for Tyson Barrie tonight, they really still haven't adjusted it as much as I would like. I mean, the point prop is still only minus 130. The assist prop is plus 125. So I like props for Tyson Barrie right there, both of them, the point prop and the assist prop. Thomas Novak, it goes without saying, the point prop's only minus 120 at DraftKings. It's a great look. Tomasino as well has the potential to chip in. His point prop's only plus 114. Luke Evangelista, who has found the back of the net on a couple of games, plus 115 to get a point. You could even sprinkle on to get a goal, plus 300 for him. This Evangelista kid has definitely made an impact here for the Nashville Predators. So, like I say, I think you get obviously kind of that backs against the wall mentality and effort from the Nashville Predators. Not that Dallas has obviously got nothing to play for. They're in a hotly contested race in the Central Division, so these are important points for them. But I think the writing's on the wall from DeBoer saying, we'd love to win the division. It's not going to be the be-all, end-all that we win the division. And I think you're seeing that with seeing Scott Wedgwood in net for this game tonight. So I'm on Nashville plus 170, split with the draw as well, because I expect this to be 1-goal win for somebody. It really would not shock me. And the draw is at plus 380 at our friends at FanDuel, which, again, continue to offer just terrific prices with those draw prices. Like, I'm only getting plus 360 at Pinnacle. So once again, FanDuel's beaten Pinnacle for me with the draw price here, plus 380 for this Nashville-Dallas draw. What do you think here, Alex? Preds, Stars?
Yeah, at that price and with Wedgwood and net, and like I said, not that he's not a bum. He's a mid-range goaltender, but he's also missed some time. He did have a couple of stints down with Texas in the AHL. Just kind of wonder what you're going to get from him. It makes sense to take a shot with Nashville and draw. But like I said, I've called this Nashville team cooked for a while now. And, I don't know if you ever had Nashville hot chicken, but, they take it out after they fry it and then they put the oil in the seasoning. I think Dallas might put the oil and seasoning on Nashville here tonight in this one, ultimately. Like I said, it makes sense because Nashville should play this game like it's game 7. It is essentially their game 7. You lose here in regulation, you put yourself into a whirlwind of issues, especially since you have to also play Calgary and Winnipeg, teams you're chasing moving forward. In fact, I think all of Nashville's games are against teams that are either fighting for a playoff spot or have clinched a playoff spot down the stretch. So that's not good. They've got a murderer's row of teams they have to face to try to get into the postseason. I don't think they do it. I think they get the E next to their name sooner than later, and I think it starts here. What I love is the first period over. Got this at 1.5 minus $1.20. Dallas 13-3. It really should have been 14-2, but they got kind of screwed on a couple of chances in their last game. In Nashville, like I said, they're going to be pressing with pace and tempo. They can't sit back and play the style that they really kind of like to play. I think they have to almost kind of play into Dallas' style, which I think could be a bit problematic. That's why I'm not playing the side with Nashville. I do think we see goals back and forth, but I think that's ultimately going to give the Stars the advantage, especially at home. They end up winning this game. I would sprinkle in the draw at plus 380, but I don't have that in pocket. Like I said, I think Dallas could take care of business. And if it had been Ottinger, then I actually would have played Dallas puck line. So that's the way I'm leaning with that. I'm just going with the first period over here and maybe try to jump on something in game. Maybe Nashville comes out with a 2-1 lead after 20, and I can jump back and grab Dallas.
Yeah, under series history, but again, we're talking 5.5 now with this total and Wedgwood and net. So I'd kind of lean over. And look, Dallas, they continue to surprise by playing, more overs than certainly they did last year. Nashville 6-1 win over St. Louis. We'll see if they can follow that up. It's a team that is playing for their lives. Backs against the wall essentially here for Nashville. If they lose in regulation, I don't want to say they're out for sure. Mathematically, they would still be in, but man, it would be a lot tougher. And you're almost ready to close the curtains on the Nashville Predators season if they lose in regulation tonight here against the Dallas Stars. But should be a good game, no doubt. All right, good stuff. That is the first two games of this card. Shout out to everyone watching the Ice Guys show in our YouTube chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it. And our podcast listeners, we thank you for tuning in as well. We'll be back to preview, I should say, the final game of this Monday card, Arizona and Seattle, coming right up right after we hear from GramCo.
Support for the Ice Guys is brought to you by GramCo. Whether you or your team's game is on the field, screen, racetrack, court, or the ice, GramCo is for the game. Grown by farmers who spent years developing premium hemp genetics, GramCo provides customers with consistent quality Delta 8 THC products ready for any occasion. GramCo currently offers numerous Delta 8 products, including vape cartridges, disposable vapes, pre-rolls, gummies, wake and bake coffee, and more. GramCo offers an enjoyable, legal high delivered discreetly and directly to you. GramCo is also available at many American retailers as well. You can get the best Delta 8 cannabis products on the market shipped quickly and discreetly from GramCo. And if you visit www.thegramco.com, use promo code IceGuys, you will get 20% off of every order, and any order that's on the site over $50 will be shipped free with standard shipping. So live elevated with GramCo and check out their wonderful Delta 8 products today.
And don't forget, time is running out to enter the Ice Guys Playoff Box giveaway presented by GramCo. Just a few days left, and we will be announcing the winners of the contest this Saturday, our final Saturday regular season edition of the Ice Guys, Saturday, April 8th. Alex, time's a-wasting for anyone that wants to get in on it.
Yeah, you got till Friday at midnight Eastern time to get in. It's sign that form. Like I said, the form link is inside of the YouTube description. It is pinned on the top of our Twitter page at _Ice Guys. You can also find, I'll have it pinned on my page too on Thursday and Friday, the last 48 hours. We've had a ton of great signups. Like I said, unfortunately, we can't send the products outside of the United States, and there's certain states in the United States we can't send it to either. All those details are listed in the form below, so check and see if your state is eligible. If not, still sign the form. I mean, it does really kind of help us. We're trying to figure out some things with that as far as how many people watch the show live, how many people listen to the show. So we're kind of doing this for our own internal research properties as well. Nothing's going to be sold or anything like that, but definitely check out the form, sign it up. Like I said, on Saturday, the giant show. I have no idea when we're going to do it on Saturday because it seems like we're going to already have 2 hours worth of time to do, but we're going to announce all 6 winners. 5 people will win $10 gift cards. I think you use the GramCo website. 1 person will win the playoff box, which has 30 count of gummies, 2 pre-rolls, and 2-gram Delta 8 disposable, just like the one I'm smoking right here. And so, yeah, sign up now. And like I said, you have until midnight on Friday, and we will announce the winners on Saturday's episode.
Yeah, you want your lock of the year, and I hate that word, but I'll throw it out there jokingly. That'll be the longest Ice Guys show of the season this Saturday. Yeah, 100%. It will. I mean, we're not splitting the atom, figuring that one out. Every team in action, 16 games, 32 teams, and we got to do the contest giveaway. And there's going to be 3 people most likely on the show on Saturday. So, yeah, it'll be 2 hours, and that's the one exception. Usually, I say 90 minutes is enough, but we'll go 2 hours if need be.
And for people who've asked on YouTube about timestamps, we will definitely timestamp that episode on Saturday.
Yeah, we will. And we will. And we'll try to get into that habit more. That's more of a time thing, especially when busy season is around. We don't always have that opportunity when it's football and all this going on. I think gradually now, as things start to quiet down a little bit, we'll be able to get the timestamps rolling more for our episodes. All right, final game, Arizona, Seattle. Seattle minus 300 home favorite, 6.5 the total in this one. Huge game for Seattle. They got to get it. You're playing the Coyotes at home. This is a game you got to get 2 points. Simple as that. But will it be simple as that for a Seattle team that, in their last 10 games, they're a losing team. They're 4-6. You know, in their last 10 games, they've alternated wins and losses. The good news is they're off a loss. So, you know, that usually means they're going to win the next game. And that's been the pattern lately since March 13th. That's the way it's been for the Kraken. They lost 5-2 to Dallas. They beat San Jose in overtime the next game. They lose to Edmonton 6-4 after that. They beat Dallas in overtime following that 5-4. They lose to Nashville in a shootout 2-1. They beat Nashville 7-2 in the second meeting. They lose the next game to Minnesota 5-1. They beat Anaheim 4-1, and then of course they lost 3-1 to Los Angeles on Saturday. So it's their turn to win, and obviously this is a game they should win. And you just wonder now with Arizona, Alex, that's 7 straight losses for them. Just awful stuff from them against the San Jose Sharks on Saturday night. 7-2 beatdown in their own building. And after being so competitive and taking teams to overtime and being right there against good teams like Winnipeg, Colorado twice, Edmonton, we've seen a definitive drop-off in their level of play the last 2 games. The Dallas game got away from them. The San Jose game was a debacle, start to finish. They got behind early. They struggled early, and they never rebounded. You got to wonder now if this team's going to win a game the rest of the regular season. So as much as we've tried to look for these spots to bet Arizona, we're not looking to do it tonight, especially on the road, and especially against a Seattle team that can't be screwing around. They got to find a way to get this victory tonight because, look, they're not safe yet. They are far from safe as far as making the playoffs is concerned.
Yeah.
They're at 90. They're only 1 ahead of Winnipeg now, and they're only 3 ahead of Calgary. So the team that could knock them out, Calgary, is only 3 points behind them at this point. Now, Seattle does have 2 games in hand. That is the saving grace that the Kraken have. They've only played 75 games. Calgary and Winnipeg have played 77. That's a big advantage for Seattle. But still, I mean, they got to nail this down tonight. It's an important 2 points. They don't want to leave anything to chance. It's an important game for them to win. I expect they will win, but I don't want anything to do with Seattle either, though. As much as I'm not going to bet Arizona tonight, I think if you're going to do anything, I think what Rich H is suggesting is not a bad way to go about it. Kraken money line and over 5.5 at plus 120. That's not bad at all. I think and I haven't done a lot of those combo bets, money line and total same games this season. But if I were to do one, this would be it. I like that a lot, actually. Seattle and over 5.5 makes a lot of sense to me. The bet I've already made in this game is just the total on its own, over 6.5. I like that. I like that bet here a lot in this game. I think you're going to see goals, probably more from Seattle than from Arizona, especially after it being held to 1 goal. That's the one thing about Seattle. You know, they play lesser teams. They can score goals. They've shown it. They put 4 against Anaheim, 7 against Nashville. You know, I expect against this Arizona Coyotes team that, again, has kind of come apart at the seams defensively here the last few games. They're going to be able to have more success finding the back of the net. We don't have a goalie confirmed yet for Arizona. Vejmelka is projected, but it's not confirmed as of yet. It will be Philip Grubauer getting the start for Seattle, who was playing better for a bit, but the last couple starts have been rough. And of course, he was pulled in his last start for the Seattle Kraken. Vejmelka on the flip side, he's had a rough go of it. He's given up 4 goals or more in 3 of his last 5 starts, 9 goals allowed by Vejmelka in his last 2 starts, but it's a product more of the team in front of him. I mean, Arizona's been giving up goals, way too many of late. They've given up 17 goals in their last 3 games combined. So they are having a big problem, big struggle right now, keeping the puck out of their own nets. So I like this over 6.5 here, Arizona, Seattle, and I actually don't mind. Probably will bet a smaller stake on the Seattle plus over 5.5 combination as well in this one. Alex, what do you think here? Coyotes, Kraken.
Yeah, those numbers. That doesn't sound much like elite goaltending coming from Arizona, but with this game, you know, Seattle, like I said, they need to play this game hard and heavy because, like I said, there's nothing sure for them right now. And you mentioned they do have 2 games in hand, but here's the thing: that Pacific Division is still wide open. The last 2 games they have is a home and home with Vegas, so they might actually be playing a Vegas team that still has something left to play for in those game 81 and game 82 if they don't have everything settled up. So Seattle needs to take care of business, beat a bad team at home. We know Arizona, they've been feisty, but that's been at Mullet Arena. They've been a miserable mess away from Arizona. And I think this is the time where Seattle, The play I would look at here would be Seattle first period puck line, but you're not getting much value with that. I mean, I'm seeing it being from anywhere as plus 105 to you're laying $1.10. I certainly never like to lay a price with the half a goal as well. Like I said, because you could just have a slow start. It could be a defensive kind of a battle, even though you don't expect that from Arizona, Seattle. But that's all you need is for one slow start or a slow sequence early in the game. Next thing you know, you're only getting 1 or 2 goals there. So with that being said, I'm going to pass this game. Might look for something in-game live, but other than that, this is a clear pass. Seattle should win this game 5-1. That doesn't necessarily mean that they will. If they're dragging their feet, Arizona jumps out to an early lead. Maybe this one's kind of tight. And with Vejmelka, and that this could be a potential draw option. But I probably won't be betting many draws on Arizona like we were doing the last couple of weeks. I think tea time's getting closer and closer for them with the way that they've played. I don't see them hanging around, especially on the road like they have been doing in some of these home games.
Yeah, and by the way, this kind of does set up like the last home game for Seattle against a team where they were off a loss. I mean, because they lost to Minnesota, they were at home against Anaheim, and I actually did like Vegas first period puck line in that game against Anaheim, and they were up 2-0 after the first period. So that's not a bad option. That's not a bad look. I can sign off on that. I can endorse that. Seattle first period puck line -1/2. It's actually plus 112 at Pinnacle. So that's about as good a price as I've found here with that. Again, plus 112 with that Seattle first period puck line. I think I'll probably put a few on that as well. We'll spread it around here. Over 6.5, little Seattle over 5.5 combo. And that first period puck line, especially with it being plus 112 at Pinnacle, it's a good enough price for me to pull the trigger.
That's solid, yeah.
Yeah, so I will. And again, we saw them off a loss against Minnesota. They played a bottom-tier team at home, Anaheim, and they were up 2-0 after the first period in that game. So hopefully we get that same kind of focus here from the Seattle Kraken to bounce back, get the job done. They've been great at a win off a loss lately, though, as this team has been alternating wins and losses, Seattle, since March the 13th. They've gone back and forth between wins and losses since that time. And by the way, as far as props go, I mean, if you're going to bet a couple of players for Arizona, I've really mentioned it's basically the similar cast of characters. I mean, certainly Barrett Hayton has stood out for me of late. He's been very good for the Coyotes, and Michelli's the one that's really been picking it up. He's been a point-producing machine. Just in the last 4 games alone, he has 4 points. So Michelli to get a point's never a bad option. From the Seattle Kraken perspective, you start with Vince Dunn and Jared McCann, and you work your way down. If you're going to bet player props involving them, certainly McCann and Dunn have been in on so much of the offense for the Seattle Kraken all season, including of late. So definitely a good options there for the Seattle Kraken as far as props go. All right, that is the Monday card. We appreciate everybody joining us. Hit the like button. Again, we've got a double dose of the Ice Guys tomorrow, the Daily Show at 2 p.m. Eastern to break down a massive Tuesday NHL card. And then we are back for the Betcast tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you join us for that. Again, DM or email me to get the link for the Betcast, and we will send it to you before it begins. So again, the Betcast tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Me, Alex, and all of our guests. Live betting commentary will be a lot of fun once again tomorrow night on Tuesday for another Ice Guys live Betcast. Patreon.com/Ice Guys, $10 a month. Goalie charts, totals charts, power ratings, the daily Ice Guys show betting card, bonus content, and more. Sign up, patreon.com/Ice Guys, just $10 a month.
Yeah, I'll have the goalie charts updated within the next couple of days. Also, check out the Ice Guys store. You guys missed out on the 20% off last week. That's a shame, but we still got the store up and running. Everything's up and up, and we got shirts, we got caps, we got everything in stock right now. So check out iceguys.myspreadshop.com, and also don't forget to check the link. Sign up now. You got until Friday for the playoff box contest provided to us, thankfully, by GramCo.
Yeah, exactly. Get in on that contest. The form link is on the Ice Guys Twitter. I've retweeted it a couple of times. It's in the YouTube video description. So make sure you get the form filled out and be part of that Ice Guys Playoff Box giveaway presented by GramCo. All right, best bets coming up to wrap up the show right after we hear from another one of our great sponsors, Manscaped. Support for the Ice Guys is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the promo code ICE Guys. That's promo code ICEGUYS at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, it's about 14 million balls that you can preserve. The Performance Package 4.0 is the complete accessory package to take care of everything that is required. You've got, of course, the Lawnmower 4.0. Takes care of your facial hair and among other things. You've got, of course, the Weed Whacker. I'm approaching 40. Nose hair has become a major issue. It pisses the hell out of me. I need to take care of that shit, and the Weed Whacker can help you do that. Both of these products, waterproof and a 4000K LED spotlight for a more precise shave. And you'll also be able to take care of those delicate areas with the ball toner, with the ball deodorant, keep you smelling good, looking good, and feeling good down in the nether regions. This complete Performance Package 4.0 will take care of everything for you, for all you guys out there, and it's courtesy of our good friends at manscaped.com. So get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code ICEGUYS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. And use promo code ICEGUYS. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. All right, good stuff. It's funny, during that Manscaped ad, someone sent me a Connor Bedard highlight clip. He's tearing it up in the playoffs right now for Regina. Regina's the lower seed in that series with the Saskatoon Blades in that Western Hockey League play. It's a great provincial battle. Like Regina Saskatoon is a huge rivalry in the Western Hockey League. They're both in Saskatchewan, so it's like that provincial rivalry thing going on. And they're up 2-0, and they won the first 2 games of that series in Saskatoon. So now the series goes back to Regina for Game 3 with the Pats up 2-0 in that series. But he's been scoring goals left and right. I think he had 5 points in the last game. Just unbelievable stuff in the playoffs. But he got cross-checked almost right in the face after scoring one of the goals, and he just went right at the guy right after, throwing punches. Now, everybody stepped in there quickly, but I like that. I like seeing that out of Connor Bedard. I'm not taking shit. I'm not going to be this soft superstar player. I'm going to stick up for myself. I loved it.
Yeah, that's wonderful to see, especially, he's an undersized guy. He's going to fill out his frame a little bit more once he gets into the NHL, but see him, having that willingness to stand up for himself. And I mean, obviously, like I said, he's just a complete talent. And, personally, I'd love to see him in 1901 West Madison come fall. So that's what we're hoping for.
It's got a chance. It does. It's got a real chance. Columbus can say the same thing, though, and I'm sure a few other teams can as well. So that's going to be May 8th is going to be probably one of the most exciting draft lottery nights in recent memory, probably since, the McDavid year and probably since the Crosby and Ovechkin year right before that.
Yeah, the Kane year too. Remember when the Hawks got Patrick Kane, they were like second to last with the odds to get the number 1 spot. So anything can happen. It's not set in stone with those top 5 teams now.
No, it isn't. Someone could shock the world and all of a sudden move all the way up from a spot you wouldn't have expected it. So going to be interesting to see it. Again, that's May 8th. That'll be right in the middle of the Stanley Cup playoffs, the draft lottery, as it always is. All right, best bets to wrap it up. Alex, we'll start with you. What do you like for best bet tonight?
Yeah, let's go down to Big D. You got Nashville and Dallas, huge Central Division game for both teams, but for different reasons. And the Predators, I mean, like I said, their playoff run is just about over. I think it comes to an end tonight and within the next few days. Let's go with this first period over 1.5 minus $1.20. I think Dallas could probably get at least 2 goals on their own and should help us cover this at a great price. So we go Predators Stars, first period over 1.5 minus $1.20. That is my best bet for this Monday.
There you go. Nashville, Dallas, over 1.5, minus 120, first period for Alex B. Smith for best bet on this Monday card. My best bet, I'm going to go Minnesota Wild here. Minus 132 is the best price right now at Bet Online. Just your simple, Vegas is really still banged up. I don't like all the injuries they're dealing with. Now they're going on the road. Minnesota, after losing against Vegas the other night, I think they're back to their better game. Philip Gustafson's just been absolutely spectacular in net. No slight to Laurent Brossoit, but right now, with the way Gustafson's playing, he holds the edge in this game. And Minnesota, after losing on Saturday night in Vegas, I think they get redemption tonight. Minnesota Wild, minus 132. against Vegas for my best bet for this Monday NHL card. That'll wrap up this edition of the Ice Guys. Thanks to everyone in the chat for joining us. Hit the like button on the way out. We appreciate it very much. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Monday night. Enjoy the games and good luck, and we will talk to you again tomorrow on Tuesday. Double play Tuesday for the Ice Guys, the Daily Show at 2 p.m. Eastern, and the Betcast at 7 p.m. Eastern. A big Tuesday on tap for the Ice Guys, presented by National Hockey Now.